stream. That's right, everybody. Welcome. And I sincerely say, welcome back to another brand new video. And that's right, everybody. Welcome back to another video. And of course, this is going to be one heck of another live stream. And also, this time we're going to be talking about is Season 4. Exactly. Which, of course, normally I probably would actually consider doing these as occasion up live streams for that. Exactly by doing is like, oh, plush seasons and stuff, just doing like ordinarily plush seasons and stuff, and just do most of all of that exactly. And yes, this is definitely Devin-Foxy remastered speaking, and also the voice behind Knuckles the Echidna, and pretty much many more voices. And of course, basically, regardlessly, pretty much, well, considering pretty much with like Sonic voice characters and non-Sonic characters indeed. So, if you guys enjoy this live stream, go ahead and give this video a like and comment and subscribe and hit the bell to be notified so that way you won't miss a single video that comes straight into this channel. And also, this is just going to be about like, oh, there's just going to be like plush season episode ideas that we probably might need to be getting, by the way, at some point in time right now in the chat, by the way. So if you guys can go ahead and feel free to just type in the chat, of course, and just see what happens exactly, and just name any other episode ideas we can probably share and name some of them we can do. So if you guys do again want to consider giving me some episode ideas for more stuff in season 4 with Knuckles' season plush videos, then that would probably be amazing, and of course, will appreciate it. So if you guys again definitely in fact want to definitely consider wanting to see more video ideas and more episode ideas, that's on our second channel right now. That is called Devin-Foxy's Sonic channel. Then I say again before is go ahead and subscribe, automatically subscribe. So if you guys are a new person to the second channel and of course like Sonic characters, go ahead and subscribe to this channel. And of course, as I did want to kind of briefly mention, by the way, is that I definitely want to say something is if you guys are totally new to this channel, then please again subscribe so that way we can continue more episode ideas and more amazing stuff. Exactly, head on to the channel. That's gonna probably be this year or 2027. That's actually going to be this year of 2026 and next year 2027. So if you guys want like more Knuckles videos or more Sonic Plush content videos on the second channel while making season 4 happen, then be my guest. So if you guys have heard about like the most interesting stuff lately about like the seasons from season 1 to season 3, well, in my knowledge, I definitely did want to come on out here and make this video for everybody. So if you guys are truly excited for more videos of more Knuckles season plush videos, then that's why we need your guys' help. Like, consider needing your guys' help, by the way, is that the only thing I definitely do need your guys' help on about is that we definitely do need to do is continue more content with like plush videos and episode ideas, because we need to kind of like make those ideas happen, because at the end of the day we definitely need to kind of consider making the conversation and topics for what we need to kind of be doing exactly is that we definitely need to continue more episode ideas and a lot more awesome stuff that comes on the way. So if you guys want to see more stuff that's only going to be about Knuckles this season, just remember this is only going to be about my characters this season for season 4, which granted, my character, Knuckles, is going to get a season 4, by the way, since, well, normally Sonic had his season first, and Shadow had his season second, and Tails had his season third, but the only thing we probably might need is that we probably might need to have some interesting developments between seeing the facts about, like, oh, what's going to happen in somehow with like more season plus videos of season 4 when like basically the Sonic characters or non-Sonic characters gets to kind of appear into many other episodes that they get to appear on exactly by me, which means I might have to kind of try to see what kind of episode ideas I might have in store for myself or for anybody exactly. If you guys are like considering basically Sonic Plush fans exactly, well, feel free to help out exactly because we need your guys' help for like naming other episode ideas that we might need to be naming in the chat. So if you guys can like give me like the most interesting ideas and favors of other ideas, it means we might be able to succeed to continue right along in season 4 of Knuckles' season plush, which this is just a letting you guys know thing about like, oh, just letting you guys know about like, oh, which episode ideas should continue more, or what characters should stay in, or what characters should stay out, by the way. That, most characters, as I said before, that some characters are going to stay in their visit for a long bit of a time before they even decide to kind of leave at some point and says like, you know what, I think it's time just to kind of go and leave. Which I mean, one of those characters can definitely kind of leave exactly at some point, but when there might be interesting returns, that there might be an official return, that one character comes back, but if not, then that means that, well, yeah, the person of the character of the plush character actually did a very well good job service and at least continue pushing on the legacy of season 4 and other seasons. Continue tributes a lot more likely to have their tributes and legend to kind of like just be left exactly and just kind of like let other characters continue their own battles and just kind of say it's like an easy way for like a character can retire that is just like a character specifically that actually did a bit of good service and a bit of tributes. Even there were some good like best to worst or worst to best, then that's probably why we probably might need to continue seeing what's going to happen yet forward on exactly by the pretty much this year 2026 or 2027 is the expression date of when season 4 gets released, which I probably am going to say it's going to be like a matter of time before like season 4 can definitely happen. Is that the one thing that I might be asking you guys right now is that my laptop can't probably access right now with more content exactly, which does suck, and I know it's going to be a long wait anyways, but let's just say at the matter of that time anyways before more continuations continue moving on ahead exactly and keep going straight ahead exactly at least, which at least I'll be honest with you guys right now at full consently honestly right now is at least, well, at least whatever's going to go on happen anyway, which the best thing I can definitely say right now, at least for the good side of things, is saying is like, oh, what's going to be the good side of stuff? Well, I'll tell you guys something, is that the good stuff, whatever's going to be happening at least, which the good thing at least is going to be good, is by seeing more characters of the Sonic characters return back, which they probably are going to return. And also, some of the characters from like the classic era might be joining the modern universe, which is of course Sonic's universe, which, as for like classic universe, yeah, it's going to be pretty interesting by the way. Just to kind of see with like, oh, how Robotnik's going to challenge classic Sonic again and classic Tails, which it is going to be interesting. And it's going to be one hell of a ride to see where that goes down. But my answer still stands, and my answer will probably be completely standable by saying is like, yeah, that rivalry is going to be one hell of an interesting showdown I might ever witness and might ever seen. So, as I can say yet again, always, it's like, damn, it's just very, very, very crazy. Like, it's very freaking crazy, dude. Like, it's just pretty crazy by seeing how this might go on and on, but that's gonna get pretty nuts. So anyway, so the characters we probably might be needing right now is to kind of like have the characters consider like having more screen time exactly is more characters have more screen time, you know. Once like more characters get more screen time and pretty much like all characters get screen time, or some characters are going to be left out exactly and some characters are like going to not come back, and some characters might be coming back and some characters might not come back at all. But in my opinion alone, at least I'm gonna actually just continue leaving where most other seasons would continue on exactly. Of course, that well, as if for how the end of season one was going down, that season one was like an easy start for Sonic to kind of defeat Eggman at that time when Eggman was still trying to figure out to beat Sonic in a few different wins, but yet still failed on a few other tries. But yeah, that probably went not so well for how Eggman was taking, at least for that, but that kind of had a sting. And the other question about season two, for an example, is I think for season two, well, let's just say in the matter of season two, I think that, however, with how Shadow was like, having a little bit of a hard decision to kind of think about how he might try to be able to kind of like come back from any of it exactly, which, as I can definitely go ahead and consider looking on the episode names on the playlists that I'm going to probably be looking towards on right now. So this is just more of a kind of like a relook or a little bit of a recap at most of other seasons that were pretty good and were pretty interesting. So I'm going to go ahead and constantly just go all the way a bit down and just show you guys what might probably be still good a little bit for more continuations exactly, and more episode ideas exactly, which, to be honest with you guys right now exactly, that however, with how Eggman and Sonic were battling out in season one was like pretty legend and pretty epic at the epic moment I would ever seen, which is pretty crazy, and it's pretty insane, by the way, by seeing the fact with whatever's actually going on exactly, how normally Sonic or Eggman like challenge each other exactly like how they actually challenge each other into more face off at least, which is insane, but it's pretty cool to kind of see that happen. And it's pretty cool to kind of witness it. It's kind of pretty cool to witness it and kind of very wickedly interesting. So that's all I can tell you guys right now. That it's pretty interesting. Pretty interesting. Now, let's go ahead on to season two, as I definitely mentioned season two anyway. So, for how season two was really going down, by the way, was that, however, that, yeah, so far that the Knuckles and Shadow rivalry were actually continuing to be more rivals, which it's pretty true that, it's pretty true that Knuckles and Shadow have been rivals since season one, and they've always been fighting each other for a long, long time, which it is pretty true, and it is pretty constantly pretty true by seeing Shadow and Knuckles facing each other on a battle that they've actually fought before a couple times, which it is not surprising, but it is quite a bit less surprising by seeing the fact that I think was pretty interesting that went down exactly, was like very interesting, like very, very interesting. And also, the only interesting thing that was another return that was Metal Sonic that came back in season two, which I think Metal Sonic for himself actually was the only one who returned in season two in the middle side of the episodes. Well, not from the season one episodes, I'm only referring to the season two ones. That Shadow was kind of like figuring out what was even going on about his amnesia stuff, that he was like figuring out a pattern why Dr. Eggman was betraying him exactly, which it was kind of a bit of a sting right there. That actually was a bit of a sting right there, which was like an ouch. Like, seriously, it was like an ouch. Like, it was literally like that right there. So the only thing I can tell you guys right now exactly, that at least that, well, that Shadow was learning his lesson, and he may actually have learned it anyways, even though he's an anti-hero for what side he always sides on, with Sonic or Eggman. But at the end of the day, anyways, that Shadow, on the other hand, well, he came back from most of other interesting ways that he comes back exactly, which, it might still be true or might still be again pretty false, but at the answer of its time, by the way, and the answer of every question, that Shadow, on some other hand, might always get the upper hand and might figure different other positivity ways for him not to like side with Eggman anymore, which, into this day in the present time, that I think Shadow is not siding with Eggman anymore because other reasons that I think that Shadow just didn't want to side with Eggman anymore, so that's probably why Shadow actually wasn't gonna side with him anymore. So that's probably why Shadow betrayed him. So that's your guys' question. And also, let me go ahead and just tell you guys on the next other part of the clip was that yeah, at least I find this so funny, by the way, that the funniest thing, by the way, that Deadpool was actually fighting against Shadow, by the way, because for some reason, it's been the same joke ever since, like, oh, the beginning of season 2 and stuff, when, like, Deadpool was encountering Shadow by calling him a black teddy bear, which was actually pretty funny for some reason that I don't know why, but I think Deadpool was actually pretty iconically hilarious when all of a sudden he just makes a lot of jokes about Shadow all the time, which kind of gets him pissed off, but it's actually pretty a little entertaining to see that how funny that even is, which considering it will or might not be that funny that much, but I think it was kind of actually hilarious a little bit between how Deadpool was actually doing something at least to kind of do it again, just to kind of see what Shadow was going to do, which, oh my god, that was actually hilarious. Like, for the first time, I've never seen Deadpool continue to keep on going at it on Shadow again. It's just like so very interesting. Like, it's just so interesting how Shadow actually figures another way to outbeat Deadpool, but yet somehow Deadpool, well, he just continues to keep on coming back out of it anyway and just continues to do so. So that probably makes sense. And also, the only thing that did make sense, by the way, was that the only meat of the meat exactly, however, was Sonic defeating Dr. Robotnik, which means that Dr. Robotnik actually was defeated by Sonic first before exactly most other characters were defeated from first to last, which was also that Shadow actually did came back for another rematch of a settle in the score rematch against Sonic the Hedgehog once again. But somehow Shadow actually had failed once again, and Shadow actually discovered the truth and figured the real truth out behind the real villain's nose, behind under their noses, which Shadow, by the way, figured out the betrayal that Dr. Eggman, or physically pretty much Meta Knight were actually portraying Shadow to kind of begin with, and they were actually backstabbing him in the back, so that way that basically more characters could still get more evil time and screen time for more revenge and more vengeance that continues. However, on most of the occasion, that's probably when Shadow decides to stop working for Eggman and started focusing on the real threat at hand. That I think to say Shadow did retreat away. By the way, just want to let you guys know that Shadow had actually, well, he did retreat away and he disappeared by using a Chaos Emerald, and he definitely left without a trace. That I think at the end of the time already, he just kind of disappeared and didn't say nothing. He just disappeared and left. So that's probably why, again, that Shadow decided to kind of leave. So that's probably why. And the only thing I can tell right now that Metal Sonic was defeated by Tails one last time, because I know that Tails was going to claim victory, that he was going to like take the main stage, that he was going to take the main at the side of the base and say like, oh, Tails is going to be claimed to get like a season 3, that he'll actually be the part of the story in season 3 is like pretty realistic in my opinion. It's like very realistic. Yet again, it just gets realistic, very commonly pretty good. Like, it's just so commonly pretty interesting by seeing many factors, by many reasons, by seeing however, with many characters gets their own story by actually getting to be like the main protagonist or to get to be like the main hero and stuff, just to continue to like, oh, get the story and get somehow with the story being successful, and just seeing how the story does take in and how the story just holds in dear grudge by knowing how the story actually continues to be better. Which, as I said before, I actually have continued evolutioning the seasons a lot more professionally a bit. But however, with many seasons being well, actually well professional and well done exactly at the end of the day, that many times of the season was actually game perfect by the way how perfect it continues, which it gets very better and very much like we're pretty better. So that's probably why I continued getting season 1, season 2, season 3 all finished. That's why I continue to keep evolution in the story of every time how the story continues, and how it leaves off by many characters having their own redemption arcs, or some redemption arcs were definitely left forgotten or maybe have been scrapped. But in my only answer right now, I can say that I was pretty surprised. Like, I was pretty surprised by seeing Tails defeat Metal Sonic and actually got him anyway, which it does make sense anyway, and it does actually kind of make sense anyway to begin with. So that is exactly as I said before, does exactly kind of make sense. Now, in this very topic about how Dr. Eggman was going to finish Sonic. So, in this interesting question that Dr. Eggman was going to finish Sonic the Hedgehog by grabbing Sonic's neck, even though that he didn't have a neck, by the way, to begin with, which Eggman was going to probably innocently just choke him, by the way, and definitely just finish him off, and yeah, just finish him off in the cold rain, and just kind of finish him off, and just kind of like permanently would have like erased Sonic from existence, which means that Eggman would have ruled the world, which it probably would make sense, but unfortunately somehow again, like most occasions back in season 1, Sonic always had found a different way to defeat Eggman and finish him and still continue living as a hero that he's always been continuing to do exactly, which is pretty insane in my opinion. It's pretty insane, which yeah, that time again that Eggman was defeated by Sonic, so that's probably why that for some reason that Sonic actually won and defeated Eggman. Pure simple, pure easy of the story, and yeah, pure amount of the story. Anyways, let me just go ahead and say the fact that I'm gonna go ahead and just say is the next part of the story about season 3, which I'm gonna probably go ahead and just talk about season 3 for a second. So season 3. Well, season 3, huh? Well, let me tell you guys something about season 3. So, Tales' season, known as season 3, is that, however, with season 3, by the way, that season 3 was like pretty interesting, by the way. And even though I was a bit confused, by the way, by knowing how the story was going to be a bit confusing, which I actually have to say that Shadow was the one who backstabbed Eggman in season 3, not season 2, because I mean, Shadow was still continuing to work for Eggman while pretty much continuing to finish Sonic in one last go, exactly, which means that Shadow was actually going to, like, finish Sonic and his friends for a rematch again, but until the second time that happened, yeah, Shadow really got his hand behind to him and got kicked again and got knocked out in the face, which it does make sense. Pure likely makes sense, but it does make sense anyway. It makes many much sense. So, anyways, yeah, that's when like Sonic and Shadow got their super forms and got their superpowers by the Chaos Emeralds, which apparently they probably know how to go super exactly by going super form exactly, which it is pretty cool and it is actually a pretty good thing. So that is all I can talk about. And oh yes, the only thing that actually was ever going on about was that Shadow somehow at the end of the day was actually going to fight Sonic and Knuckles again, but somehow that Sonic and Knuckles were going to encounter Shadow, by the way, again, just to keep reconvincing him again and again until Shadow actually sided with Sonic and his friends again, not with Eggman anymore. But the good thing is about it is how everything continues to be awesome, well done. It's just like it just gets better every time. Every season gets better, better by better, and day by day, exactly that just gets better. Which of course that Deadpool actually did have an interesting encounter with Thanos. That Deadpool was going to fight Thanos for the first time in like season 3 was ever like the appearance of how that turned out. But so far that again that Thanos does kind of find Deadpool kind of bit like incoherently incompetent, most likely. But I think for how Deadpool was taking the advantage, that I think Deadpool at the end of the time actually did defeat Thanos while he actually got away before exactly would make a lot more sense. So, as I can say otherwise, that the entire amount of like how everything continues to be amazing is like freaking realistically freaking crazy. Like, it is like pretty insane, by the way, of how most of every season continues, how awesome it goes, exactly how awesome it continues, which I find it so interesting, in fact. But however, with like, oh, I think the fact that many returns with Shadow, exactly that, yeah, Shadow did kind of regret actually, did kind of regret actually being on the good team, but so far in his only self that he actually did want to stay on the good side right now, because I mean he didn't want to kind of side with Eggman ever again, ever since about like, oh, the whole Maria issue was kind of going on about that, which Eggman didn't have anything to do with Maria. I think it was GUN that was Gun that actually killed Maria in the progress of Shadow's amnesia as usual, like any other Shadow the Hedgehog would still have exactly about that suffering amnesia syndrome thing, which it makes sense otherwise. About how the fact that however many characters does try to say the M word about like Maria and stuff, then that's when Shadow actually just has a bit of like a hard ego to kind of like not even control back a little bit, but that's probably why that Shadow again digresses, having a hard time to figure out what's going on a little bit about Maria, which that's probably why, for an example, and that's exactly the point. But at least Shadow is, like I said, at least he's going to get his own time anyway, just to kind of like have a good time a little bit, not thinking about Maria too much, but he might still think about, much likely about Maria a couple times, because it's just kind of how amnesia kind of works about like the amnesia syndrome makes sense about why Shadow actually suffers with it a little bit exactly. So it is probably why it makes sense exactly. That's why it actually does make sense to kind of make it entirely making sense. Sorry, guys. It's my throat a little bit that I'm just trying to kind of like bother my throat that actually isn't trying to kill me, but at least my throat actually is doing a bit okay. But I think it's just a bit of the talking right now that I just didn't have to drink a little bit just to kind of drink something. But I wish I did, by the way, and continue talking, but I guess I kind of wanted this live stream out, by the way, of this update, by the way, of like season 4 of Knuckles' season plush update, only in the live stream, not on the video, but just live stream. Don't normally sometimes actually do live streams sometimes. I only do live streams sometimes when they're like in the middle episodes or somehow in the bit of the beginning, but sometimes in middle episodes, that probably still might happen and that might still continue anyways. So that is exactly my point and my theory of the point, and that's exactly my whole point. And to make the topics and conversation is probably that's what the point is. So, anyways, the same question about with Silver, by the way. That oh yeah, pretty much with Silver, by the way. That okay. So for Silver, by the way, yeah, same question, but doesn't have the same thing as Shadow does. So let me go ahead and tell you guys this question in theory. That, however, with Silver, by the way, he did join the evil side, by the way, that he was signed with Eggman, but until something actually did betray Silver, by the way, that Sonic or Shadow actually encountered Silver again by reconvincing that Silver was working for the evil villains that was working with Eggman, which it is pretty crazy. Again, I can say in more describing words, it is pretty crazy. It is more likely pretty insane. Like, it's pretty freaking insane, man. Like, it's just that insane. So, that's all I can talk to you guys about. So, the other question of however is that with more questions being described by more characters fighting by fighting, like a lot of characters were definitely in fact fighting, interrogating, or whatever exactly by other defaulted reasons and many other questions that yeah, a lot of characters, as I said before, was pretty interesting, like all the characters were fighting exactly until that one end, by the way, until that very, very finishing end, by the way, that once like Eggman, by the way, was defeated, by the way, by Sonic, then of course Thanos had to take care of the job himself because we all know that Thanos is like a god, exactly that even though that he's not truly a god, he's only like the god of destruction with a finger snap by the Infinity Stones. That Thanos was the one going after Sonic and his friends, by the way, to go after them, which, that actually did change history a little bit of Season 3 forever, which it did kind of change the momentum of Season 3 of having like a big, big, big impact that actually did change for a bit of a long time. However, until Season 3 was finished and finito, which we're totally done, which we're definitely done exactly for some reason, which I find it a lot more interesting to the fact that, however, it just gets more interesting than per usual with many things going on. It's just like, it's just so interesting just to kind of refigure all those out by many things on many recaps to kind of look onto and just kind of see to bear to witness. However, many factors are a little bit interesting to kind of see, it's pretty interesting. So after that, by the way, that basically what was actually going on too, exactly, I do want to let you guys know again, is I was going to tell you guys something that what was actually really going on, by the way, that after when Sonic was nearly going to die by the hands of Thanos, not Eggman, because I mean, Eggman would have done the same thing if he would have done that, but unfortunately, Thanos had to kind of stun Sonic to kind of weaken him before he was nearly going to die, which means the entire amount of the season was going to be over until like a newcomer, by the way, or a new person was going to take the spot from Sonic if he passed away or died exactly by the hands of Thanos, which it does mean, by the way, that once like the main character does die, by the way, it means like the main character gives like the position role of like another role for like being the main second favorite exactly, just to kind of be like the main second captain, just to be like the person that actually would lead the team exactly, would lead more interesting missions and more defeats to beat Eggman and the rest of the others of any other villains that were on his side. So that's what was really going on, and that's what was really happening. So just want to give you guys again about many of these other recaps for like many good reasons. Like very much considering many and many good reasons. So if you guys again exactly enjoy the rest of this video, remember to give this video a like, a comment, and subscribe, and hit the bell to be notified so that way, and I mean sincerely, that way you guys again will not miss a single video that comes onto this second channel of our live streams, YouTube shorts, videos, or whatever that we have in planned exactly. Trust me, there'll be a lot more videos to come. And also, if you guys were definitely wanting to say something in the chat, feel free to say something in the chat or yet in the comments section. So if you guys do want to kind of do that, by the way, then please again go ahead and recommend, sincerely recommendedly, to definitely actually go ahead and subscribe. So anyways, it is time I say this again. If you guys want to see more episodes, by the way, of more and more episodes, by the way, then yes, more episodes are going to happen in season 4, of course, with like let's just say that the fact of the matter of the time is that once we do enable season 4 and of course like enable the episodes and air the episodes out by the fact by the fact of like this year or next year of like this year 2026 or next year 2027 by actually releasing Season four's episodes of Knuckles' Season Plush episodes to kind of release them and kind of get them down, by the way, and also get them prepared and ready. And also, is this going to be the same story of Season 3? Well, it's going to be about like the previous last time of Season 3, but this is just going to be more likely something pretty interesting. Jesus Christ, my throat is hurting. Oh, my throat is just hurting and paining a little bit just to kind of stop talking. But let me just go ahead and continue talking a little bit, and then that's when I'll stop talking. So, Jesus, my throat. Jesus. Anyway, let me go ahead and say this, by the way, is that whatever's gonna go on in season 4 is gonna be the previous of season 3 is gonna be like the same previous of season 3, but it's just gonna take back a long way back at the end of the story where Thanos was gonna defeat Sonic. But until Sonic was saved by the Timeline God, that's when Sonic actually defeated Thanos and sent him to another world, which that's probably when Thanos actually did lost, by the way, and actually lose to Sonic, which that's probably what happened. That's what was really going on about. So it made sense. And it really did made lots of sense. So anyway, all I wanted to say, ladies and gentlemen, that once we do continue to get season four's episodes out, by the way, and Knuckles' season Blush, that's what we definitely might need to be doing right now. That's what we might probably be needing to get right now. Is once we have like all the episode ideas coming from like the comment section or in the chat, by the way, or the post, by the way, I'll probably be able to be sure to let you guys be reminded of many episode names that we'll consider being on Knuckles' season of season 4. But remember, this is only going to be about the same characters and, of course, like new antagonist characters or newer characters from like heroes or villains again. Then yes, it's going to be like mostly like that, but it's going to kind of get very, very interesting indeed. Like it's going to be very interesting indeed, and more stuff to come and more stuff to be good, which is going to be pretty good. So let's just hope to wonder to see what happens. And by the time of season 4 gets ready, and before season 4 does exactly, in fact, get released, by this year, 2026, and next year, 2027. So once we get those out, by the way, then those other episodes should definitely be ready. And those episodes should definitely be coming to be soon and be ready once they're ready. So once they're ready, they're ready. So, for now, everybody, this is Devin-Foxy, Remastered speaking, and I will see you guys for the next video, as always, truly as always, in the next video. Or most likely call me Devin-Foxy Remastered again, and I will see you guys, in fact, for the next video. So the only things I want you guys to do right now is 4 remaining things to do is like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell to be notified so that way you won't miss a single video that comes straight onto this channel, period, and period simple. So that being said, I'll see you guys next time. Take care, everybody. Have an awesome day and have an awesome evening while the stream is at it anyways at this timestamp. So for now, everybody, have a good day, and I will see you guys in the next time, and of course yet in the next video. So goodbye, everybody. Take care, and I'll see you guys next time. And also, please remember to give me some real episode ideas. Give me some real episode ideas that I can definitely mark down, by the way, and that I can definitely remember what episode names I would definitely want to be adding on my second channel for most likely future references and for much likely future stuff exactly when season 5 or season 6 actually gets to exist, exactly which, even though those 2 seasons are not exactly existing just yet, for Deadpool season 5, well, that's going to be less mentioned until season 4 is actually finished, which I think season 4 might come down to the last finish when it's a different prediction mark. But however, of which character is exactly going to stand and which character is actually going to probably prevail at this time anyway, even though it could be shared by a different character. For example, like Kirby versus King Dedede, exactly, which that could probably be a thing, in season 4. But however, many finales and many other fights, epic fights, are going to be like pretty legendary and pretty nostalgic and pretty fascinating on many encounters and many interesting facts by seeing how good most of these get pretty well done and get very professionally well done at the end of the time. So that is all I can say, and that is all I can probably talk about right now. So anyways, I actually am going to go on and get out of here and sign off anyway, so that way my voice doesn't start cracking a little bit in my throat of my Adam's apple, so that way it doesn't keep cracking a little bit. So anyways, that being said, thank you. And I say thank you all for definitely enjoying this video. Remember, give this video a like and comment and subscribe. Hit the bell to be notified. Thanks. Anyway, see you guys for the next video. Goodbye. And see you guys later. And sign right out as always. So take care, folks. Goodbye. See you next time. And sign off as always. And plus, there'll be more live streams if you guys want to see more live streams coming up soon, which in fact I will try to get more live streams out on the second channel, which I'll try at least to get some of them out, but we'll see what happens, guys. We'll see what really happens, and we'll see what really goes on out. But anyway, thanks for watching. Goodbye. See you next time, and sign right off.